thanks for making that intro for me, Boody. I really
Dude, anytime, man. I just whipped that up. Like I did that live, actually.
Yeah, you were doing it.
That's why you had to remove me for the screen, because I was just like, turn the page, play the music.
It's almost done. It's almost done.
Here we go.
Is it right or right? Is it right or right?
Is it right or right? Is it right or right?
I think it's correct. No, there's no C in right.
Fuck. All things together, it came together perfectly. You know what I mean? Like, it all worked out in the end. So
my only concern is it stops. Why didn't it? I wish it was like 30 minutes long.
Should have got going. You want me to keep going? All right, send it back. Send me back. Oh man, I'm already red as shit from laughing. And so I already look like your background.
It's well, honestly.
You want to switch?
Well, you're red because you're well read, because you're a writer.
Yeah.
And a reader.
Yes, definitely a prolific reader and a writer.
Prolific. Don't make up words. It'll make me look stupid. No.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'll stop making up shit.
Prolific. Look at this
prolific.
Pontificating over here.
What were we talking about before we were just like we're ranting before the show started, and we're like, we should just like turn it on right now.
Oh well, you brought up how when because you and I first met at my theater in 2013ish, and I had a free writing class because I wanted to bring people in, and I love you know me, I just love teaching, and I love exploring,
you love inseminating.
Yeah, especially if they're red. And then you were saying that I had brought up basically a section in Game of Thrones, and that the value of everything that like it's more like sometimes when we read a moment or we see a moment, we as an audience or a reader will see what we see, and that's it. It is, like, oh, they're being stabbed, or they're about to be executed, or they're contemplating their life. But there's always like this deeper subtext to it, and
absolutely,
and it makes the writing deeper. And I think we were going into that. And then what did we talk about directly after that? Just you don't want to like waste the page. You don't want to just say things to say things.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to just like fill pages at all. Everything, even down to like the most minor of moments, everything needs to have purpose and intention. Even if it's just like a small little thing, if you just need to advance the plot a little bit, or if you want to if you need to just like maybe key in the audience on something about a character that might be important later on. Everything has to have some sort of I guess like inciting value.
Yeah. How deep into a story do you think is too deep to add another character discovery, like learning more about a character? Is there a point in a story where you're just like, we don't need to give the audience anything more?
You know what? I'm going to say, honestly, that's like, I don't really have a good answer to that question, because I feel like,
all right, thanks for the episode, everyone.
Yeah, thanks. No, wait. I'm going to give you an answer. Yeah, all right, bye. See you. Let me make the intro again. Let me make the outro right now. All right. No. So, like, I have felt that too, where it's like, it's like, I like, there's a certain point where it's like maybe everything's all set in stone, and we don't need to like learn new things about characters and all that. But then like I've sort of read or watched things that like really sort of, I guess, like changed my mind about that. Because like, I mean, you've never seen it, but there's this TV show called Hunter x Hunter, right? And one of the
animation.
Animation, that's like typically what I watch. But anyway, so like there's this one story arc that's like, it's like 80 episodes. It's like insanely long. Like it just goes on forever. And it's just like, there's so many characters, and it becomes like this giant interwoven narrative, right? But towards the end, like everything sort of culminates in like this big battle or whatever. And one of the funniest things that like the fans joke about is like, there's this character that's introduced. I mean, like, dude, it's like the last 8 episodes. He gets introduced at that point. You're like, why? You're like, who is this guy? You think he's gonna be like, just like, you think he's just gonna get bodied, basically. He's just there and just like that. But then he becomes like one of the most important characters in the story. you know. And I would say normally that's a horrible idea, you know what I mean? Like, you know, in the hands of like not a like an incredible writer, you know, like to just like introduce like a almost like a random character that late in the game is strange, because like you said, for the most part, like when you're working up to your ending, like by the time you reach the end, pretty much everything's on the rails, and like everything you set up beforehand kind of, you know, takes over, you know, like all your prep work in Act 1 and Act 2 should like, you know, set the course for what's going to happen there. But sometimes like sometimes a curveball like that could be really cool if it helps like punctuate the rest of the story, you know. Like his purpose in the story wound up being like he sort of actually tied into like this character that got like introduced like in basically what we'll call Act 1 of the story. He's like introduced like so early, and he winds up dying, but like in his death he sort of finds more value because these people wind up being like, you know what, I don't think he actually died, we're gonna go search for him, and that becomes their like purpose and mission. And I thought that was really cool. So I guess the short version is, you know, I don't think there really is a point where it's too late, as long as it's some way like even just indirectly or subtly ties to something you already introduced. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they call that seeding. I think it's also known as planting. And a lot of writers, they fall into the Deus Ex Machina. And if that character just came out of nowhere with no connection to the story, they were like,
that would be horrible. Again, unless like for some, it's like there's no way around it. Like, you know, like you know, like if it wasn't the Ex Machina, it would still have to be somehow like tied to like maybe the greater purpose or themes of the story, you know. So you still would have had to have seeded that anyway. So
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sort of like Rey in Force Awakens, where she exhibits zero Force abilities, doesn't have a mentor or teacher say, "Hey, you have the Force." She just is able to outpower and outrank someone who has been studying the Force since a child. Because the Force is female, as per Kennedy, Kathleen Kennedy's shirt.
Hell yeah, Queen.
But to me, that's a Deus Ex Machina. But all she had to do was when she was like in the beginning, where she's like going through the ship scavenging, like where she does like a tiny little Force thing.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't really know how to work it or what's going on, but we as an audience go, she's aware of her abilities.
Oh yeah, she gets it. She knows how to use it within this context.
Yeah, but no,
that'd been fine. No,
there's no Obi-Wan Kenobi to come in and go, the Force, it's around us, it's around you, and your father was a mighty Jedi, and his lightsaber will fix this in the prequels.
Even Han could have taught her in a way just by being like, hey, like, I'm now fucking Jedi, but like I've been around these guys for so long. It would have been interesting because he would have been like sort of like kind of not the greatest. Probably would be a really weird master for her, but you know, it would have been a cool twist on it. By the way, I'd like to point it out. 8 minutes and 30 seconds till we brought up Star Wars. So here we go.
Excellent. You know, to that point, I think that would have been a nice mirror image of Han Solo, because in the first appearance of Han, he was like, the Force kid, come on, I don't believe in that hoopla. And in this one, he's like, no, it's real. I've seen it. Let me tell you a little bit about it, but I can't really teach you. But instead, he's like, it's gone. It's, you know, everyone's dead. So
everyone's dead. It's bad. It's really bad.
I got arthritis. So you know.
I got arthritis. Chewie.
Yeah. they could have rich. Chewie, we're home.
Chewie.
Chewie, we're home.
Oh, God, please kill me. Please kill me. I just want to die.
I hope my son kills me at the end of the movie. I think that Episode 9 could have been the best Star Wars movie if they had just really they didn't focus on the points and the beats that were necessary to make a full story. They just had a lot of stuff happening, but nothing was happening, which is my biggest concern with storytelling. Is
somehow Palpatine returned.
What?
Somehow Palpatine returned. Can we talk about that? Like that
in the novels, he's alive in the novels. He pushes his spirit out to this tower that's basically in the same place he's in that movie.
Yeah,
and he has all these clones of his body, and however, how do he feed all the people on all the ships that were under the water
Yeah.
No one
Mini
could get there,
chlorians,
by the
dude.
way.
Mini chlorians, dude.
Yeah, he just was like, but no one could get there except for this entire armada.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I like Palpatine, but like I
Yeah.
feel him. Like I'm okay with Palpatine, like he's my favorite character.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think they earned it.
No, you know what, dude? I think like what you're saying, like when you ask the question of like, like how did he feed all those people or whatever, I feel like what's funny about a question like that is I feel like that only gets brought up when it's like the story is stupid. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't really care if they gave you just even the barest explanation as to why he was still around, other than somehow Palpatine returned. Because I feel like that's like the best way to sum up those movies, like the newest Star Wars series, is like they are written. Every moment is there just to like get to the next point. It's not like there is no attempt to like establish character or or really like have characters learn anything naturally, like you were saying, like a moment where Rey just like was like fixing all the junk in her ship and was like, ooh, I know it's this one, why, I don't know, I just I pick up on that, what I mean, like, and she does like and then the you hear the music, you're like, ooh, like instead of that they just fucking tell you everything you need to know. You got like they basically might as well have sat you in those seats and given you like a Spark Notes. You know what I mean? Like that's like basically what they were doing. It's like you're just like, okay, she's got the Force because the green fish lady, the yellow fish lady told me so.
Yeah. We need it. Oh, and also Finn might be Force sensitive, but we're actually going to. He's a black character, so we're gonna just push
we're gonna edit
side.
him out of the Chinese movie posters.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, Disney. Slay, Disney. Yes.
Yeah, the start, like even A New Hope, like you can watch it and they're making note to things that need to be told.
Yeah.
To the point where even I know it was an afterthought, but it's like George Lucas was thinking ahead before thinking ahead, because at the end Darth Vader says the Force is strong with this one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And for Darth Vader
to
say that statement before Luke is powerful.
Yeah.
It opens up the door for the second movie to allow him to move forward.
So, yeah, Tom, what you're talking about is like characters, like a lot of characters in TV and movies now, they don't, it feels like they don't earn anything that they do. Like you kind of even said it before. Like, it's weird. Like, there's like Rey, I understand why she was the way she was. They wanted to make a strong female protagonist, which is, that's admirable. Like in its, in its baseline theory. But it's weird. Like in their efforts to do so, they wound up making like the weakest female protagonist because of how strong she was. Because like, strength isn't really determined by being like, oh, I'm just naturally good at everything. I'm super strong, I'm super fast, I'm super smart, It's not about that. It's about like, it's about like overcoming your weaknesses. And that's the essence of every fucking story ever told. Yeah. It's like a character has some inherent weakness that they struggle with, they flounder, sometimes it really brings them down. Sometimes they overcome it, with like maybe a little more ease. But yeah, like denying Rey what Luke had, especially in Empire, where all of his best attributes, he was selfless, he was hot-headed, he didn't take shit. All his like quote unquote best attributes were thrown back in his face, you know what I mean? Like, and that movie is just all about like breaking him down, he was rash, that's why he fucking crashes into Hoth, because he needs to learn patience, he runs into a trap at the end because he's just like he's so hot-headed and he's so like I gotta be hero, like he doesn't think, but it's great, like it's funny, but he's in his weakness, like that was him at his worst. In his weakness, he became one of the strongest characters. You know, I think that's what like Disney needs to take away. Being strong in terms of powers and magic and all that shit isn't strong. You know, what people care about is strength of character.
Yeah, which, by the way, enforces the audience to cheer more when they do exhibit power. Like, when Luke,
because they earn it. Yeah,
because we're emotionally connected to him, and like when Luke does the thing when he's like he does when he in the beginning of Return of the Jedi, and
you're like,
when he's like he does the flipping and he fights. You're like not questioning it, but I think the main takeaway from the first 4, 5, and 6 verse say 7, 8, 9 is Luke is introduced to the Force and he uses it for one moment that is not even a big moment as far as skill. It just guides him to shoot the gun, the photon missiles, and he blows up the thing. In the second movie, because Vader was like, the Force is strong with this douchebag.
Yeah, with this douche. She said that. That's actually in the movie.
Yeah, the Force is strong with this douchebag.
This douchebag. That sounds like Stallone. The Force is strong with this fucking douchebag.
It's about getting up and taking the punch. Anyway. So in the second one, if anyone's never seen it, or 6, he's also not super powerful yet, but he's using a little bit of his ability, and he goes to Hoth, and being there, he discovers that he actually doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to trust in the Force.
Like, I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah, he's like, he's having trouble with rocks. You know, he can't raise the ship, and he's learning lessons from Yoda. You know, there is no try. There's only do. Right? Yeah. And then, like you said, he has this selfless. I have to protect my friends. So. Which, by the way, is a mirroring of Anakin. He did what he did.
Yep.
And he flies there, and obviously Vader toys with him to the point where he just there's only like a small moment where Luke gets the upper hand, and Vader's like, "I got this," and he just like forces at him, Yeah. And he's like,
oh. He's like, "Oh."
The wrong guy here.
He's like, "All right, sit down, dude. Sit down.
So by the third one. And some time has gone by. They initiate some time, but he's like, all right, I need to focus. And you realize he went and saw Yoda, and Yoda perishes, and he learns the truth that it's his father. And he's not trying to be powerful to kill his father now, or his enemy. He's trying to be powerful to help turn his father.
Yeah.
And at no point do I feel Luke is using the Force in a way that is like the Force Unleashed. He's using the Force to guide his mission, which was to change his father from evil to good.
Yeah. I want to be a Jedi like my father. That's the story summed up in one sentence. And each movie ties into that perfectly.
Yeah, but in episode 7, she goes from not knowing the Force to outpowering a Jedi, a Sith Master, Sith Lord. And then in the second one, she's like fighting. She wasn't able to overpower a sloth, or whatever his name is, Snooky. What's his name? The Shtukster, the bad guy, the Palpatine clone.
Right. Yeah, the guy who just gets bodied by Kylo douchebag. Yeah,
but everything she does is super super powerful. And then in the final movie, she has the ability to heal things. She has the ability, and she's using the Force to win. Yeah. And she is not winning.
Yeah. She doesn't learn anything. She doesn't take away. You know what? Like, even there is a version, like if Disney really just like said, fuck it, we want her to be like strong right away. You know what I mean? Like, let's just say they were going in with that mentality. She's just like a savant. She's just like natural with the Force. They could have done that. But they needed to, there needed to be some sort of inherent weakness to that. Maybe she doesn't learn the right way. Maybe she's so fucking strong that like she doesn't know how to like tamper her powers. Maybe she's like, fuck it, I'll save these people, and she like, I don't know, maybe like bodies a few of them. You know what I mean? There is a way to do that. There is a way to do like the overpowered character thing, and then like still give them flaws as like a person,
Oh
because
yeah. She,
that's
like
what
you
people
said,
want.
she could be at a point where she doesn't really think about the causality of using her powers at such a high
Yeah,
rank that she's either teetering in the dark side or on the line to the dark side,
yeah,
unbeknownst to her, because she doesn't understand how the force works. However, what you just mentioned is setting up the ordinary world. If we start, that's why, like, that little moment of her going woo, like during,
yeah,
like in the ship, if she had done that, you're setting up her baseline, her ordinary world. And if she's super powerful in the beginning of the movie, where do you go from there? And it's not about power at that point; it's about herself, like you're saying.
yeah, exactly.
You know,
That's what drives me crazy about those fucking movies is that like you could write a story however the fuck you want, honestly. Like there's no like she technically like personally I would like it, and me and you would like it more if she started off more humble origins, right? Like I
yeah,
think we could both agree with that. But you don't have to do that if that's not the story you want to tell. Like as long as you stick to like the basic key ingredients of a story, you could get away with telling a story however the hell you want. She just needs to have some sort of like inner conflict. She has to have something she wants.
yep.
She has to have something that she really actually needs. Like I can't assign those to her as she stands. I have no fucking idea. Like,
Now,
like I would love to say this is. I don't know. I guess Ray wants. I don't even know what she wants. Like that's
yeah.
supposed to be the easiest one. That's
Flynn
that's
has more conflict like that
Yeah.
than Ray.
Even Kylo is
Yeah.
better written in that way. Like, we get what he wants. He wants to be like Darth Vader. That's like his weird idol. But what does he need? That's where it gets a little more complicated with him. I think he needs a lot of things. He needs to like maybe let go of what happened to him. Maybe understand
Well, they say it. They say that for him to become truly the Sith Lord that his grandfather was, he has to kill his past, and
Yeah,
by doing that, he has to kill his father and his mother.
yeah.
And
But is that really what he needed? Or was
it's
that the
yeah,
lie?
yeah.
That was
Which is
the
the
lie.
conflict.
Yeah. That's where the conflict comes. Yeah, but that's why it's so interesting. Like, as goofy as those movies were, the one thing I'll say about them is they somehow hit the nail on the head with Kylo Ren. Like
Yeah.
he was an unlikable little shit, but it was great. Like it's funny because a lot of people will defend his character, like that's the perfect example. Like, dude, think about it this way: you have Rey, who's super cool, badass, awesome. She does magic, no problem. Everyone likes her. Chewie, instantly her best friend.
Yeah.
Leia fucking hugs her, says "fuck you, Chewie." I don't give a shit that my husband died. Like I'm more worried about her, right? Like you have her, and you have Kylo, the virgin, wears pants up to his fucking nipples. He he cries, he whines, he's like obsessed with a dead guy. He keeps his fucking skull in sand.
Yeah.
And I imagine he like kisses it or something, Like, yeah, that weirdo loser is 20 times the character that the super cool, awesome badass is because he was allowed flaws. He was allowed a lot of them. He is generously flawed. And that's what's great about his journey, even spoiler, I actually didn't see the last movie, but I know enough about it to comment on it. I know him turning to the whatever. I don't know if he turns to the light side. He turns back to Ben. That's a million times more earned than anything else that happened in those movies.
Yeah, I mean, if you definitely saw the movie, you might not say that because it's just the point at the very end.
Isn't he like hugger or something? It's like
the end of the movie they kiss.
Oh, why? They fucking make out, dude. She saw him in those
back to life, and they kiss.
She saw him in those fucking nipple high pants, and she was like,
She's like, I need some of this. Kylo.
I thought they were brother and sister for some reason.
I was hoping they were.
Because we're bringing it back. We're bringing it back.
In the novelization, he's actually
they are. Yeah, that's why they're brother and sister. I know. Like everyone yells at me. Like my brother and Steve, they're like, "Dude, you have to watch the last movie because it's so it's so profound. It's like not profound, like profanely bad. It's like profane. It's like I've been told it is actually the worst Star Wars movie. Like somehow,
it is pretty bad. But just two things. First is Ben turns into Ben at the beginning of Act 3 because we need him to sacrifice himself.
Yeah.
That's the only reason he turns good. Or at least that's what it plays out to. The second thing is the MacGuffin is a Sith dagger. Hear me out.
Hear
The
me out.
MacGuffin is
It's
a
cool.
Sith dagger that they have to find on a desert planet, not Tatooine, that is carved into the mapping of where this Sith holocron is on the exploded Death Star from Return of the Jedi.
That's like a MacGuffin within a MacGuffin within a MacGuffin.
Keep in mind, who of all the Siths were like, I need to make a dagger that's supposed to be ancient. It's an
Yeah.
ancient dagger
Yeah.
that is
I mean,
somehow designed perfectly in the shape of where this holocron is, of a thing that was blown up 20 years ago.
yeah, like not that long ago.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, I know it's a galaxy far, far away, but you know, it's. I mean, I like the idea of a cool Sith dagger, like on surface level. That's kind of neat. That's like, ooh, I haven't
But it's
seen
a
that.
map that
Yeah, I
you
know,
put
I know.
up on the horizon, and it shows you right where inside the Death Star that is on the water where it would be. And you're just like, this is stupid. But
Yeah,
speaking of character flaws, you brought up a really good point. When you write story, I don't do this because I think it's meticulously retarded. By the way, I didn't use the R word like you're thinking. I meant it's slow. It slows me down.
The musical term.
Ridiculously slowing to my process.
The musical term. I got you.
Yeah, I'm a musician by trade. Like so that's why I say words like that. Anyway, do you actually map out a character before really plotting out the story, where you're like, this is their flaws, this is their desires, these are their motivations, these are like their... Do you do that? You know those lists that they have is like, to make up your characters, just answer these questions.
Yeah.
What's your favorite color?
I think I don't do that at first. I think I just kind of like, my first step in writing anything is just vomiting the words. You know what I mean? It's just like
you're a
whatever.
right? You're like
just
a gardener.
There's like no form. It's just like, ooh, this would be cool. What if I don't know, like a clown loved giving hand jobs, you know what I mean? Like, I started there, like, and then like, I would just kind of throw out whatever. And then I think like when I first started writing, there's really like, I don't really have much structure, but I do kind of eventually hone in on it, like I might start with like, usually I start with a question. It's like, what if, yada, yada, yada. That's like how I like
What if there was a clown?
What if there was a clown who had to give handjobs? It's not that he wants to, it's that he has to. Why? And that's what we find out.
Yeah, he's at kid parties trying to blow up balloons, and he's like doing this with
in the trailer, it's just like, da, da, and he won't stop like pulling on the balloon, and the kid's crying, and he's just like, I don't know what to do. Yeah, da, da. And then it's like a shot of like someone coming through a door, just like weird, and it keeps cutting back to that.
We need to make that movie.
He's like just drooling and bleeding out of his eyes.
I'm clowning around, but that's what I was hired for. That's what I was hired for.
The clown who must fucking hand job.
I'm like kind of with you. I'm a plotter though. Like I'm a huge architect. I love outlines. I love but I map out story concepts, not necessarily character, and then I allow the story to dictate characters' needs, and then in turn, those two things will start contradicting and then molding it into something that makes sense.
I would agree with that. I think I definitely try to think about like what a character like. Like maybe not with all characters, but sometimes I'll be like, okay, well, this guy's really hot-headed. You know what I mean? That's like, I know that's his flaw. It's just very easy. You know what I mean? And like, I might, yes, it depends. Like, I think I'm like 50-50 on that. Sometimes I might know going in, like what I want, the characters like want, need, their flaws and all that. I might like actually just write all that down just because it's, I don't know, because it just
to write it down.
It just came, just to write it down because it came to me. But I would say normally, even if I do that, at the end of the day, the story will dictate what those really are. I might like have it down in the beginning, what I think it is, but then in writing it, I might go, actually, that kind of sucks. Or it just like didn't fall out that way. Like I think you need to be flexible with your story. Like
Oh,
I
absolutely.
again, yeah, like I'm all for outlining big time. Like I do that like a fucking madman. But at the same time, you also need to allow yourself to make discovery.
Mhm.
You need to allow your story to sort of discover itself too.
Correct. Yeah, yeah.
Like in the process of just like writing it out, you might go, fuck, that actually changes a lot of my initial plans, but I like it. I'm gonna go with it.
Yeah, an outline keeps you on the big beats.
Yeah,
And a big beat doesn't necessarily mean small outcomes. The big beat is like they have to get to this location, but how they get there might be through discovery. And
yeah,
I even have like moments in stories where I have a character that, let's say, is hot headed, but I'm working on a scene. I'm like, why do I not feel like he's getting angry at this? He's not. He's almost understanding of the situation. So does that mean he's not hot headed? What does that mean? Does he have it? Why does he
yeah,
trust this person? And you realize maybe I thought of the wrong kind of character for this story,
yeah,
and it's okay. It's very okay to change it. And I think some writers get stuck in that. Well, I thought of it, so it's in stone now. And I
yeah.
think your stories will suffer from that
Hmm.
if you're not allowing
Oh
yourself
yeah,
to grow. You know.
you have to let your story fucking find its own life too. Because yeah, if you find those, what's interesting about those little contradictions that you find, where you're like, why? You're like, again, why is my hot-headed character being so calm in this moment? There's
Yeah.
like sort of two. I think there's like sort of two paths you can go with that. You might go, like you said, one, maybe this isn't the right character I needed. Maybe I need to go back to kind of the beginning and maybe rework this character or whatever. Or I think those little contradictions are what makes us human.
Yeah.
That could be interesting. Maybe it's because that character he's with, he has like a certain interesting relationship with. Maybe this is the one exception. Maybe it isn't actually a contradiction in terms of like, it being like a plot hole or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a contradiction in terms of like their inner self. Like, oh, he's fucking angry at everybody else, but with this one clown that gives hand jobs, he's I can never get mad at you.
Yeah. You're so
Like,
calm.
and,
Like
and then
easy.
and then yeah, then what's cool about that is you ask yourself why, and then like you could, that will inform your story, then you can go into why,
Yeah.
maybe there's some reason,
Well, like
I
with the Maven Wars, my first fantasy novel, like
right,
Devious, one of his flaws is that as a child he was so afraid when his parents were killed that he was like, I need to be the bravest so I can
mhm,
help people.
right,
And that is both his flaw and his strength because it's what gets people to follow him and
yeah,
trust in him because he's the first one into battle, but that also is makes him the first one to get in trouble
yeah,
or it backfires on him because he's it's not that he's hot-headed, but he's like, I will if I stop them, then these people behind me won't get hurt.
yeah. Yeah,
And
he kind of charges in. Yeah, but like, yeah,
yeah,
I think that's really good. That's a really good flaw. Like, a lot of. I mean, again, it's one of those things where there's no real right or wrong way to do it. But if you could find a flaw that also is a strength in essence, I think that's really neat because then it becomes less about so like he needs to do the opposite. It becomes less like that, and it's more like he needs to learn how to temper that, and
yeah,
control that. Kind of like Luke Skywalker. You know what I mean? Who, like none of that. Him being like selfless and caring about his friends and all that. Those aren't like flaws in the traditional sense, but they are in the essence that like he's so hot-headed and like
yeah,
fucking stupid about it. He needed to like get his priorities straight. He needed to like come up with a plan, and he needed to like put bigger things into the picture. But that I think that's a really strong flaw as a character when it's something that like there is strength in it and there's also weakness, and he has to
yeah.
kind of get kind of
Learn when and where,
yeah,
and
when
where.
exactly, yeah,
When and where. My goal is in the story. Does he or does he not? Learn to rely on
I think I
trusting
know,
others.
yeah,
And like being like, wait, if we go in as a team, there's a chance that I
yeah,
I don't have to go in first. I just have to go in with, and that I think would turn into a really good growth moment
yeah,
when they can, because they don't trust others to protect themselves. You only trust that he's the only one that can protect
Yeah.
you, because he wasn't able to save the people that he cared about the most. And it
Yeah.
makes him do drastic things, and that's one of the main reasons the
Yeah.
story even
It's
happens.
it's selfish too. He's trying in an understandable way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like, it's like there you could be. It's interesting. You could be selfish in a way that's like, well, I get where you're coming from. You're not like being a bad person, but he's trying to in a way save that young version of himself. And he's it's like less about him, because the right thing, like you said, to do is to trust other people, and then that would ultimately help more people. But by him running in and needing to do it to himself, that's like, it's like him trying to prove something to himself less than him wanting to save people. It's like, and that's sort of the contradiction. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. And also, he doesn't want to be a leader. Like, he's not like in his mind, he's like, I don't want to be king. I don't want to be a leader. I just want to help people. I just want to be available. I want to stick up for the underdog. But by being who he is, he's a natural leader because people want to follow him.
Yeah.
Because he's not a talker. He's a doer.
He's cool. I've always loved that character.
You like Devious? I love his name because it's just Devious.
Yeah, he's like he's a good guy though. He's like it's very devious. Like, who named you?
Yeah. I used to name. That's how I name people. I just think I was like, what is it? I named the character. I forget what his first name is because he's a fairly new character.
Derek ALTAYON.
What?
Derek ALTAYON.
No, he's already a lawyer in the.
Derek ALTAYON, attorney.
I'll get you 10. His last name's Mostly.
Okay.
Like mostly. No, like the character, whatever the character's. I forget his first name, but the character's last name is Mostly.
Wait, when we played D&D, there was another guy like that. There was Arion. What was his last name? He had I don't remember. He had a name, and we had the whole screaming fight about it. He's like, "That's my name." I had to go through my own notes. It was really funny. He just had some stupid last name, but he got mad about it. And we got mad about it because he was always like fucking with us. It was like the one time he was being legit.
Yeah. Look, a good name is a great cause for fun,
Hell yeah. I've always loved that you're able to find like humor in like even your storylines tend to be a little like I would describe them very broadly and as darker. You know what I mean? Like obviously that's not like 100% true, but if I were to give it one word, I would describe them as like more darker feeling, but you're still able to kind of find the light in them. And I think that's really cool. And I don't think it comes off as like jokey, you know what I mean? Like I always feel like anytime there's a quote unquote funny moment, it still elicits something about the character, or like it sort of builds a relationship between two people. Like I don't think you just like make jokes,
Yeah, it's weird because like in real life, I'll make a stupid pun or something like that, and I love it. But in story, I don't think people, unless they're trying to diffuse and it's their personality, they'll make a joke. Mm-hmm. But I think even the least funniest person in the world will do something funny, even if it's unbeknownst to them.
Yeah,
and that's okay. And I was talking to someone about 21-3 the other day. The 21-3.
Yeah, I remember it, but like it's like it was out of my brain, and now it's all kind of
me too. Don't worry. No,
wait, no, 21-3 is. Oh no, okay. I'm thinking about. Wasn't there like? I'm thinking of like there's like a movie about like a hotel. What was that?
I with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, it's like hotel. That's what I was thinking.
217.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, I remember 21-3. My bad.
Yeah, 21-3. And I was like, I don't know what genre this would be, and they're like, I think it's horror. And I was like, I don't know. And then I'm like reading like some of the old notes and everything, and I was like, yeah, this is horror. This is a horror show. This is yeah, I
mean, it's like a guy. It's dark as fuck. I mean, like, there's literally a guy just like manipulating people into just like into their worst selves. It's
filled with love.
I mean, hey, it is love in a weird way.
Yeah, and
There's like
I've always been
fucking,
a
there's
fan
like
of.
Hitman, there's like,
Oh yeah, there's Hitman, there's fucking
there's
there's vicious characters in a
yeah.
story. When you write, are you more prone to touch on a theme? Uh, like obviously, as you said, a lot of my themes have a dark tone to them, but there is a humor to them. But I like writing like really it's to me like deep themes. I enjoy exploring the human psyche
Hmm.
and our our failures to success and vice
Yeah.
versa, and like being so I just naturally am drawn to that. I mean, every book, every project I've ever worked on, there's always that, like, even Letter of Reason is, the guy, he ended up not getting married to the woman of his dreams because he was afraid, because if they would have had mixed children, and in the 60s he didn't want the children that he never had to deal with
Yeah. Yeah.
racism.
Hmm.
That's a dark subject, and
Yeah.
but are you more of like, here's just a story idea, I want to write it, or do you naturally fall into a very not predictable in a negative way, but like, this is my theme
Like a
world?
pattern. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think okay, it's maybe a little bit of both. It's kind of like, theme, something that's something I've been trying to be more cognizant of lately, like trying to, really like go in with a theme. But I think for the most part, theme is something I find kind of as I'm working it out. I just kind of like, and that way, when it comes to like the theme, I like to just like come up with an idea or a concept, see how it would flesh out, see how, the characters bounce off each other, see how the conflict will play out. And then I might look at it on like its broadest level. I look at every piece of it, the beginning, the middle, the end. And then I go like, what is this story really telling me? But I think there is also power in like knowing your theme from the get go too. Though I'm working on something right now where that's something more present. Like going into it, we already know like the themes that we want to touch on, and it's interesting because I've never really done it that way. So that's kind of new to me. So hopefully it works out for me. But I'd say normally I just like write a thing, and then like maybe second draft I would tie in a theme and all that. I'm like, oh, this is, like looking at this more closely, this is really more about such and such.
Yeah, and I think I'm blurry. I'm a little
Yeah,
blurry.
you are a little bit, right?
I
Yeah,
don't know
do
what's
the
going
hand
on
do the
here.
hand trick,
Let's
do
see.
your hand magic.
Ready?
Woo.
Did it work? It didn't work.
Not really. This happens to me all fucking time. It sucks. You're a ghost. You fulfilled your story arc. You've become the ghost that you sought to find.
Yeah, right. It's not.
It's like hyper focusing. You might need to reset your webcam.
Oh, let me try. Let me try.
There you go. It's just me. It's my show now.
It's. Why don't you
the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna spell right. We're gonna spell it RIG.
We're gonna make it. We're gonna correct this. Look at that. Let's see. This is what it should look like.
Dude, you're becoming a smear.
Yeah,
You're going fucking full Monet over there. You're becoming impressionistic.
I don't know what happened here.
I don't know. I try. I don't even want to do it because then I'll do it and then I'll be blurry too. But yeah, the hand trick works. Or sometimes I'll like shove my face up in it. Yeah, and then you like go back real slow.
Oh, no, look,
it's losing you.
Woo!
Look at that! Look at that handsome look. Kiss the camera. Kiss the camera.
It's gonna go blurry.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
What's going on? I could do this.
I hate that.
It'll stay. Wait, let's see. No?
Yeah, you gotta like just have your hand up the whole time. Yeah, you might need to like either restart your webcam or you might need to like adjust your settings like through maybe not through StreamYard, but through your like through your webcam settings on the computer.
Let me see. Watch this. Let me see something. You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey.
Hi. You are now a with a slash through it.
Oh
yeah, look at that.
All right.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
You look real good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
Yeah, yeah.
Shucks. So,
Nice to meet you. What's wrong? Nothing. This is a tick. Tick.
you hand someone a business card and says, "Please pardon my finger wagging. It's a condition."
I'm an astronaut and a finger wigger.
I'm an astronaut and a finger foyer.
It's the way to live wildly.
Wild. He's wild and free as all things should be.
Yeah. But to your point, yeah, I think themes. I I don't feel Stephen King is like, let's write a horror book. I think he has ideas, and they're just horror stories.
Yeah.
And I feel like good to great writers are like that. They don't sit there. Like, I'm not a fan of lists where you're just like, all right, what's the theme? The theme will be about adult becoming an adult from your childhood. The
Yeah.
loss of child innocence.
Innocence. Yeah.
Like, I don't feel a great story can come from that, because now you're writing within the parameters of what you're trying to accomplish, instead of just being like, if I say I want, what would it be to lose my innocence? Like, if that's the question, not the theme, but like,
Yeah.
what would it be to lose my innocence, and how would that look? And you start developing the story from there. You'll end up with great characters, great motivations, just naturally, because you have to answer that question.
Yeah. I think that's where me and you like agree so much on. That's like how we both start our stories usually. It usually
Yeah.
starts with a question that we want to answer, and then we sort of put all our little characters and our settings, they sort of are there as players in almost a riddle. Like, it's just like, well, they're here to explore the question and to see what would happen. But I will say, like, I honestly think that you can do it the way you're describing, where it's like, if like, say I wrote down like, I wanted my theme to be loss of childhood innocence, yada yada.
Yeah.
I think that's okay, so long as, like, say when you're writing a story, you're not like forcing it under that lens, like,
I agree with that.
yeah, if you're going in with that, like, that's like what you're going for, but then maybe as you're writing the story, you're like, I don't know, like, it's not really working out. Like, either you need to be comfortable with maybe tweaking those sort of outline things. I mean, I do that all the time. I a lot of times I'll have my sort of bullet points, but then, like, you really have to ask yourself the question is like, how important are these really? How fucking important is the loss of childhood innocence, like, to me and to the story I want to tell? If it's imperative, then okay, do what you got to do. But if it's like not, and you're just telling a story and maybe it's not working out that way, fuck it, change it.
Yeah, because you'll discover the truth of what you really wanted to write. Because you might start off with, what would it be like to lose child innocence, and you mark it out. I agree with you 1,000%. What I was saying is, when you take the lists literal and you go, I need to write
that's bad
theme. Yeah, I don't think you can get a good story from it, because you're not allowing yourself to develop that story.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to. It would be like, I don't know, hypothetically, imagine people were on social media.
What?
And
why would anybody want to do that?
We have souls. Hypothetically, they're like, I want to be the positive person, or mental health is important, so I want it's good. Mental health.
That's my whole thing. Yeah.
The sincerity will be vanished in the ignorance, and I think that happens with writing too. When it's like trying to write a song. Imagine you wrote a song for I don't know, hypothetically, like a good cause, right? And you're like, I really want to bring people in to make it better, so I could unite people and together. And then, like, it's about you, and you make it about you by doing one of these where the guest is in the corner over here, really tiny. And
hey,
and you're
joke's on
really
you.
big.
I love to be enfeebled and made small. That's my fetish. So you're just played yourself, fool.
Wait, you like giving your time and effort, and then being innocently thrown to the side as a second.
Yes.
I know he's making a guitar solo, but I have to be. It's me.
It's all about me.
It'd be really funny if somebody did like a video and a song where they have a guest, and when the guest show is being showcased with a solo, then like the other person plays a solo over their solo. I would
And they're
say
like fighting each other. Like
it's like this. It's like wait. Let me. Where is it? Oh, here it is.
I'm like, oh yeah. We're just like keep butting each other. That'd be really fun.
Oh,
they're like
God.
literally bumping into each other.
Oh, the ego on that fake person we're making up. Which is,
that definitely not a real person.
It would just be selfishly crazy, you know. So, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, what we're talking about. Yeah, theme is interesting. I really do think, at least in my experience, like theme is definitely one of those things that it's always a happy accident, you know what I mean? Like, and then usually like what I'll do is like I'll kind of see it. I'm like, ooh, it's like this could be tied to this, and then it's like, oh, I really like that. Then like once I hone in on that, I'll go over the whole story and then kind of like, you know, realize, oh, this moment really kind of doesn't tie into that. Then I might like, you know, I'll like kind of pick and choose what I want and to make it tie into that theme. But I didn't go in like knowing that's what the theme is. Like, for example, here's a great example. When I wrote, you remember your old Dog Dad, that script I wrote? So, like, that I just fucking wrote. There was it was literally just like, I never tell you the story why I wrote that. It was literally my friend, he like, for a college class, he was like, he's like, I'm in a playwriting class, you know, and this dude, he's like a cop now, you know what I mean? Like I don't know why he took the playwriting class. I think he only took it because he knew I would do his homework for him. Which I did because it was I just like any excuse to write something I always take, you know. So the homework he was given was like, oh, he had to write a story, like a play, like a 15-page play that was like about. It had to be about either like an anthropomorphic person. It had to be about the apocalypse. It had to be like a story about family. It had to be a story set within like a store or some other thing. Can't remember the fifth one. But I was like, look, I'll do it, but only if I could do all 5 of those things. And that was it. Like when I went in, going in, it was just like, how do I make a story about an animal person that lives in a store in the apocalypse? It's about him and his son, you know? And then like, yeah, and then I wrote the story. But what was interesting in me writing it is like kind of the first draft, I kind of like wound up, I realized I was like locking on to a theme there. And one of them, I feel, at least I normally I wouldn't talk about this because I like to, how do I put it? Like when I write a story, I feel like it's important for you to make your own kind of interpretations of it. You know, even if you were to read this, if you disagreed with me and you said, I don't think this is what the theme of the story is, I would say you're right. You know, but for me, the theme, like me personally, what I felt the theme I honed in on was, it was one of like fear of the other. You know, like Dog Dad's thing is he hates the fish people. You know what I mean? Like, and like to a racist level. And you know, like, cause it's funny and how weird it is. But you know, like I feel like, you know, towards the end it kind of locks in on something that's true to us. You know, it's his son kind of contending with the fact that he loves his father, you know, more than anything. But his father has this like irreconcilable flaw, you know what I mean? He's the perfect father in every way except for this one fucking thing that is like irredeemable, you know. And it's a question of, you know, this son basically, like, does he continue to love his father or does he have to let him go, you know, even though he doesn't want to? And I thought I remember being like, wow, fucking like, I didn't know, I didn't do that on purpose. It just kind of fell out my ass, you know, like, but you know, like I wasn't going in thinking that way. I was like, you know, it'd be fucking hilarious if he was really racist against fish people, you know. But then I, like, instead of making it a joke, I was like, well, let me approach this as seriously as possible, you know. And I think that I think personally that really strong theme, that central theme, came out through that, you know. And that's like, I guess that's one way to do it, you know. It's just the kind of,
and you're not supposed to write a dog like a dog. You write it like a human, a character, you know. And then it's just
exactly,
it is a dog.
I took basically with him, like, I took the traits of like what is the essence of dog and what is the essence of dad, and it's just like
That's funny.
And I'm like, what's a great name for this guy? I don't know. Dog that.
Well, I mean, how many there when authors are talked to about their pieces, you have two different people where it's like, oh, I spent years, researching and writing
Yeah.
these notes, and like J.K. Rowling talks about how she had to figure out like the history of stuff that's not even in the book. She just needed to know, so she kind and like something like 14 times. She wrote the first chapter 14 times, and
It's insane.
yeah, it's insane. But then you have like Catcher in the Rye, and he didn't even outline it. He just wrote it. And people study it, and they're like, these themes are there. And he didn't think about it. He was just like, here's the story that's in my pedophile brain. Right?
His sick, beautiful, twisted mind.
Yeah, his sick pedophile brain. Well, I'm trapped in my little cabin up in the thing because I'm married to a 14-year-old. Yeah, he married he wrote love letters to a 13-year-old with the permission of that girl's parents. He married a young girl.
Yeah, that fits. I mean, when you think about the story too, he's like, I am in love with this child's mind. I wish I were a child.
Yeah. But stay in the house. Don't bother me. Yeah, when I'm in the house, when I'm writing, you don't talk to me because you fucking talk to me. Chores. But
get on the rye. Go on the rye.
Catch him in the rye.
Catch him in the rye.
He was a pedophile. But to be fair, I think Stephen King has those sorts too, because he literally wrote the
child gangbang
sex orgy.
In
it. But he's also.
Isn't it weird how everybody knows about that? You talk to anyone about it, they're like, wasn't there a child? I mean, it's just funny. Like, people who haven't read it, like me, are like, like when you bring about It book, they're like, yeah, wasn't there a child gangbang? It's funny how everyone in the world knows.
Do you know why they did it, right? You know why they did it in the story?
Oh, it's supposed to be their way of like, it ties into his theme of becoming an adult and like abandoning your childhood innocence. That's how he has to confront
kind of. In the book, they do it to commiserate their victory over it.
I thought they that's like their prep. I thought they go in, they child gangbang, and then they fight it.
You might
got something.
I don't remember. I think
it's the prep. I think it's their prep. They go. That was like, you know what? We need a sick plan to defeat them. And then they all just.
Why did the kids in it have an orgy?
Dude, it goes on for pages apparently too.
Yeah.
This is we're asking the hard-hitting questions here.
I wasn't really thinking of the sexual aspect of it, King says. The book dealt with childhood and adulthood, 1958, and grown-ups. The grown-ups don't remember their childhood. None of us remember what we did as children. We think we do, but we don't remember it as it really happened.
I think I would remember that.
Intuitively, the losers knew they had to be together again. The sexual act connected childhood and adulthood. It's another version of the glass tunnel that connects the children's library and adult library. Times have changed since I wrote that scene, and there is no more sensitivity to those issues. What?
Bro, you wrote a weird scene. Fucking yes.
What?
There was so many other ways he could have done that. Like, if he wanted them to commiserate their like ascent into adulthood, they could have just like drank or something.
Yeah, like or even the blood. Like the let's cut our hands. Like that thing's like
anything, any fucking thing other than like a 5-page.
Yeah, I just I don't. But he's notorious for being a gardener, a discoverer. He likes to just write. But Brandon Sanderson, who you're reading right now,
hell yeah,
his thing is. Oh, I have that book.
I just bought it. I'm gonna start reading it soon. Yeah,
I'm gonna give away something in it. He says, "I don't know how to tell you how to write. I can't teach," even though he's an English teacher. He goes, "I don't know how to teach you how to write or anything. So this is not a book about how to write. It's about my life and how I discovered my stories." And then there's a funny part in there where he's talking how as a kid he's in the woods with his brother and he takes a crap and then he has to wipe his ass and he wipes it with poison ivy.
Oh my god!
It's a writing book.
That's awesome. It sounds amazing. I heard I heard it's a great book though, so I'm excited to read it.
It's a great look into his life,
Okay.
but I wouldn't say it's a great writing book.
Okay.
You know, it's not good. It's not
Yeah.
for me. I didn't feel like I was learning anything of the craft through his book, but I learned a lot about the mentality of a
Yeah.
writer and how you take what you see in the world and explore in the world and experience in the world, and it becomes a part of your paint.
Your
That's
story.
kind of
Yeah,
what I got from.
that makes
But
sense. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll take little. I'm sure I'll take little snippets away from it. Yeah.
yeah, like I say, but it's not. Again, he's not like when you're writing, you have to make sure the inciting incident. Like it's
Yeah.
not like that.
No, it's not like Anatomy of the Story, which reads like a fucking medical textbook, and that's why I love it. It's just like, this is what you do. Do this or don't.
But even with that book, like you're not. There's no way you're sitting there writing a story going, how's that? Wait, do I have this element there? Like
Yeah.
you write the book and it's just innate in you, and you just make
Yeah.
sure that you are hitting those things, and it's good as an after effect to go back
Yeah.
to a story and saying, did I earn this? Does this make sense? But to that point, Brandon Sanderson says that he's an architect, and he'll map out his outlines. You know, it's a point where he goes, I need the world build here. He'll write that in his outline. World build this fact or this history. You know, add this seed. He calls it seeding also, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, the theme promise. Like I have to introduce the promise. All right. And then he says he writes up to the conflict. So he basically writes up to the second act conflict, not the descending conflict. So he just writes up to the conflict.
Right.
And then he reevaluates the book and he says, did I learn anything new? Did I discover anything new? Are these characters different? Do they make sense? Do I like where it's going? And if any of those answers come back no, he starts the book over with the new information put into his outline and he'll write it again. And I don't do that personally.
He's a fucking psycho.
Yeah, that's
but
crazy,
I respect
man.
him. Yeah, he's fucking insane.
Yeah,
I
he's really
respect.
fun.
Yeah, he's badass. I've watched a lot of his he has like a YouTube series where he it's like specifically on world building, I believe.
Yeah, and he put his class online. He put his I think it's 12 lessons or something like that.
Yeah. I haven't watched them all, but they're really good. Especially what I loved about it. There's one I watched. What I loved the most was like he actually. I thought this was so cool. Like he wrote Mistborn, right? And I love
as a
Mistborn.
romance or something, right? It's his romance.
No. That's the one where it's like it's the one where it's about like the people who like they eat the metals and they like get their magic.
And they get magic from it.
Yeah, through the metals. Yeah. So he and it's funny you said this. He brought up basically like ultimately like he thinks it's like a great series and I do too. But he said the flaw. He actually brought it. He taught by teaching what he felt was the flaw of his first book. And I would agree. It's like at one point, like without spoiling anything, like a certain character, basically, it feels almost like a Rey Skywalker moment. You know what I mean? It's kind of like just like a power kind of comes out of nowhere, and you're like that was kind of weird. It kind of didn't feel earned. And he admits to it. He's like, it's been a while since I watched it, but he basically he had some evidence there, but he didn't feel like it was like enough, and then from that moment on, like he approached all of his other books, he like nothing like that ever happened again. Like if someone just like fucking developed a new power or something like that, it was always deliberately built up or tied into like their character or some flaw or something, and he even retroactively does a great job at explaining why that happens. Like you get in the second book, you're like, oh, like he kind of like covered his boo-boo, like it's like if you only read the first book, you would be like, that moment was kind of dumb. But what he's so good about him as a writer is that he's able to fucking take a mistake from a past book, which is set in stone. You can't change the words in that. And he's able to like not even retcon it. Like it didn't change anything. Like he didn't change anything that happened. But just by explaining it in such like a good way, it was like, wow, okay, it makes sense now. All right, fuck it. It's no longer a problem. But I thought that was cool.
Yeah, he's like, they need magic underwear.
That's what it was. Yeah, like the Mormons.
Because he's a Mormon. You know that, right?
Yeah, he's a Mormon. Yeah, it's all about Mormonism. Every one of his books. Don't.
Yeah.
Just go in knowing that it's all about Mormonism.
It's all about Mormons.
They soak. They soak in every book.
Yeah.
You've heard
He's
of the Mormon soak, right? You know what Mormon soaking is?
Is that where? Oh, you without being too graphic, you basically finish and you stay inside.
Well, it's without the finishing. You just
Oh, you
it's
just
just
stay
it's
inside.
a visual aid. It's just kind of like
Yeah, yeah.
and
You
you
just
just
you go in and just hang
just
out.
rest. You just rest, and you're just like
That's actually tantra. That's how you do
It's the-
tantra. You just sit there and
is
you just and you just pulse.
you
And,
and you
yeah,
shoot your
it feels
gooey
great.
aura.
Yeah, but my doctor hates when I do it. He's like, just cough. And I was like, but you're holding me. Yeah. And he's like, no, Brandon Sanderson is definitely
a king.
he's a very prolific writer.
Yeah.
There are certain things about his writing style that I might be like, I'm not really interested in. But overall, like for example, he doesn't know how to write romance, and he's the first to say it. He doesn't really understand. But he's been married. He met a girl and they got married. Like he's, he hasn't experienced,
dude.
being
He's a
turned
robot.
down.
He's not a human being. Like that's the thing. It's like he just like the way he writes and how quickly he writes, and like it's just like it's profound. Like I know like I've seen so many interviews with other writers are like, you cannot base yourself off of Brandon Sanderson. If you do, you will never write anything ever again.
Yeah.
Because it's like so many, like think about the guy who's writing King Killer Chronicles. That guy's taking like 5 years to write that book. I remember he had a thing like, he was like, I can't, like, I'm not Brandon Sanderson. I am my own guy, and I have to just take it at the pace that I can do it, like, and I got to tell my story. I can't write 4 books in a year. I can't.
No, you can't.
You can't. Only he could do that. Don't think, if you could do it, God bless you, but you probably can't, and that's okay.
Yeah, I tell people you shouldn't really like judge against other people because when I write, like when I'm actually writing, in 90 minutes I'll get like 3,500 words on average, and I only know that because I keep track of my writing days because I write every day for a minimum of an hour, no longer than 2 hours, and my goal is to get about 3,000 words in. But if I get more than that within my hour or 90 minutes,
it's like
it is what it is. But I don't write more than 2 hours. But I read, like Hemingway, he wrote 500 words a day in like a 6-hour day. And he's Hemingway. So like, I tell people, don't worry about how much you're writing. Like it doesn't matter. Like, because I write really fast.
Yeah.
But it's because I already know this. I'm not trying to figure out what the story is because I have the outline and I'm just writing to the beats. And
being a speedy writer doesn't make you a good writer. It just makes you a speedy writer.
Yeah,
and that's fine.
It's just a skill.
It's a skill, and it's a great skill to have. But if you don't have it, then it's fine.
Yeah,
just write
15 minutes a day and 12 words in that 15 minutes, as long as it's what you wanted to write. I think that's important to be a good writer, though. Like just writing hoopla doesn't necessarily mean, hey, I wrote 100 words. Yeah, but what? I think we were talking about this before we went live. Somebody asked me to send them like a piece of my work to see it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could send you a paragraph. And like, what am I going to learn about your writing in a paragraph? I was like, hopefully something, because why have the paragraph?
why did I even write this fucking paragraph then? Yeah.
Just take it out. And he read it and he was just like, this is really good. And I was like, well, I wouldn't have kept it in the book.
You fucking asshole.
Yeah. You think? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I was actually tying. I was jumping off your point. You know what was a really good movie recently that like I feel like every scene had intention and there was nothing that like just happened pointlessly.
Uncharted.
Yeah, Uncharted. Yeah, Uncharted. Yeah, no, I didn't watch that fucking shit. There's no way.
Movie? No.
What? Yeah. That's what I was warming up to. Yeah. No, that's the Batman. Which did you not like it? You didn't like it?
Listen, I have not seen Batman ever on the screen. And I love Batman Begins, but that's not Batman. It's a Batman. Uh, I'm not a fan of the Batman because it
Mhm.
was an hour too long, and
Really?
everyone moved at. This is what I tell people. I go, there's a difference between a slow-paced, exciting movie and hey, can you move as slow as
Yeah,
possible?
just like
And there's a part where the Riddler, it comes out of the dark,
underneath the
and
bridge.
he's just like looking at the guy, and then the guy walks past, and he's still just slowly looking at the
It's to build
guy.
tension, Thomas. It's called tension.
Yeah, but there's a point where you're like, it went just over
I
into
disagree
art.
strongly.
Into art. That movie was art.
I hear what you're saying. There are movies that fucking do that, and it's horrible. Watch Green Knight, and I just like want to pull my fucking eyeballs out.
Racist.
It's yeah. It's not my fault that they decide. Okay, so that movie. Let's think about what that movie did. That movie turned. Think about this. The movie took the Green Knight story. They're like, fuck it, let's cast a brown guy as the Green Knight. Great,
Yeah,
cool, whatever. And then they're
Why
like,
not a green
let's
guy?
make. Yeah, like let's make him into the biggest fucking asshole on the planet, though. Like that wasn't the original story. It's like it's so weird to me that they like oh, let's make a diverse movie, but then let's make that person into an absolute scumbag.
Yeah.
It's like why? Yeah, that movie was so bad. But
go back to the Batman. So you think
Yeah.
this? Look, I think you're right. It is a good movie. I
Yeah.
don't think it's a good movie, but I think you're right that it is a good movie.
yeah,
But I
at least
don't
with
think
this,
it is a good movie.
I think you'll agree with this point at least. Is like every scene sort of has intention and all that. There's no scene that happens pointlessly or superfluously. And where I really saw that shine was, did you see that scene where they cut out of the movie? There was like I'm sure you saw it. They cut that Joker scene out of the movie.
Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
glad they cut that out.
Yeah, but I thought that was honestly like I saw where they were going with it. I still think it had a purpose in the movie. Like that scene clearly had a point. It was, they wanted to he was supposed to be there to get under Batman's skin, to make him doubt himself. And they also wanted to introduce the idea that like Riddler and him were kind of similar. But the director was like, you know what? Like, I think this is already expressed in other scenes in the movie. And I thought that was really fucking awesome that he was able to think about how much you have to care about your story to fucking shoot a scene about the Joker in a Batman movie and be like, I'm going to scrap it.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that was impressive. The
the
fact
Joker
that
was already in the movie. He just
I know,
called
but
the Riddler.
Yeah. He was, all right, take it easy. He was his own character. He
is. He's my favorite character as a villain. Other than
when he's
Clayface.
no. He's just like, oh. Dude, he's just
that was
like
not the Riddler.
it was his own character. It was his own thing. The Penguin wasn't the Penguin.
Yeah, I got
but I loved him. He was awesome.
But why do the Riddler's not psychotic? He's a sociopath.
Yeah, he's a different Riddler. He's not the Riddler in the comics. It's fine.
That's why I said earlier. I was like, it's not a Batman movie. It's just it's a Batman.
I thought it was the most Batman movie, period. But with certain changes. Like obviously, the characters weren't exactly the same. Like Riddler is different. Is his own Riddler. He might as well have been a different guy. But it was fine because I think when he wrote that movie, he wasn't writing in terms of I need to quote unquote honor these characters. It was more like, how do I write this character in such a way that it fits my story? The Riddler was meant to be a mirror image of Batman in that movie, and in that regard, I thought he was awesome.
Because the Joker is the mirror image of Batman, and they didn't use the Joker; they used the Riddler, so they had to write the Riddler as if he was the Joker. And I was like,
different. He was different
than the Joker, but he's a psychotic character.
Yeah,
but he's not a psychotic character. He's a sociopath.
Sometimes he could be. It depends. There's a million that's the thing about comic books though. If I read one DC comic, the Riddler will be in his little stupid top hat, and he'd be like, Riddle be this Batman. But then I read another one and he's burnt out, overweight, he's helping Batman.
The best Riddler is in the animated movie of Hush, where they changed the Hush character to actually be the Riddler. And the transformation from him being the Riddler.
Is that what happens? I didn't.
You didn't see?
Know.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I didn't know that they did that. I read the comic.
The comic is 1,000 times different.
Yeah,
But
really, I didn't know that.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
there's no way
really
I could have
good.
known.
It was a
Yeah,
great twist, and I accepted the new
yeah.
Riddler because of what happens for him to get there. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
cool. Yeah, because fucking when you realize, I remember like I didn't like the comic Hush.
Yeah,
When
no.
you realize that guy, you're like, who are you? I don't care
He was
about this
best friends
guy.
when they were in school.
Yeah. Ugh. Did you see the? If you want to go into like a good change, did you see the Long Halloween movie?
No, I actually I have that on my to watch list on the
It's
HBO.
really good. I won't say anything, but I will say it does something not like as dramatic as that, but
Yeah.
it does. I appreciate those movies because they're able to. They do little tweaks. Like one thing I could say that won't spoil it is like Catwoman is a more prominent character in a good way, not like in a
Oh yeah,
she
yeah.
just feels like she's there. Like she's actually tied into a story better. And like I don't know if you remember the original sort of twist, like the kind of mystery was kind of like,
Yeah.
in that. And this one, it's a lot stronger. There's like one detail I remember, like I don't fucking remember that happening, and I looked up, I was like, ooh, they changed it, so it kept me on my toes. I'm like, now I don't know what's gonna happen,
And that's what I like about when they make a movie. It's like it doesn't have to be identical. Like I don't need to see the Joker in a top hat to be like, I mean the Riddler in the top hat and be like, that's the Riddler. But like I still want to see the elements of a character there. But I want to bring up something about the Batman, and you tell me if I'm too crazy about this.
Okay.
So the Batman dresses up like a regular person to ride his motorcycle. Right? He gets to the club, okay, in his regular garb. He goes into the club as Bruce Wayne, and then he goes upstairs, and now he's in his full-fledged Batman outfit. Okay.
He brought the costume with him.
Where's his
He
backpack?
walked in, and he was holding it.
Then he jumps out the window to get back on his motorcycle, and he's in a regular outfit again.
I gotta rewatch that scene because I don't remember. I remember there was a scene where he walks in as Bruce Wayne and he has a bag. I remember that.
Yeah, he has the bag. Yeah,
and I remember
he full Batman outfit in it. His armor.
Yeah.
In that little bag.
Yeah. Dude, why not? Why not? It was a big bag. It was a big bag. It was
like he had the.
He changed the electrical room. Remember, he's like hunches over and he's like, yeah, that'd be a great skit. Him dressing up, like, dude, like he's just like in a mirror going like.
Batman.
Yeah, Batman. There's just a line. There's a line for the bathroom. He's been in there. Bruce Wayne has been in that bathroom for like 3 hours.
Bruce Wayne, go away. I mean, it's Bruce Wayne, go away.
It's Bruce. I mean, fuck.
Are you turned around? Can you see me? Yeah, you're right there. I can see you.
You know what, Tom? I'm gonna say it just to spite you. 10 out of 10 Batman movie. I thought it was perfect. I loved it that much. It was my favorite Batman movie.
It's my favorite Batman movie too. It's he's immune to shotgun bullets. He's
He's not immune. You guys, he like almost died. He was like, "Oh, I'm so fucked up."
After 300 shots, they were like, "Oh,
not 300." The guy took a shotgun blast. It was like, "Oh, fuck."
At the end of the movie.
Yeah.
That movie, it's terrible.
No, he does. Did you notice at the end he when that steroid thing? I think that might have been Venom he used.
It might have been, but it was. They said it was adrenaline.
Okay, yeah. Someone pointed out that it could have been Venom, and I was just like, "Oh my god!"
It would have been cool if it was Venom, but if I remember correctly, they said it was adrenaline. And like the director said it was adrenaline because someone asked him online.
Interesting. Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, well, I still am excited for the next one. I think he's making a really interesting world. It's like a fresh take on Batman. I appreciated that it was like it actually was a fucking detective story.
That I liked. I was looking.
Yeah,
that was
cool. That was awesome.
I didn't like the message part though. You know, when
I liked it.
The message came. When Catwoman is talking to all these white people in their ivory tower.
She was the worst part of the movie, and everyone knows it. It's fine. If you ignore that, like I think the message of Batman becoming like, at first he's just like I think I love these two scenes put together. There was the first scene where he where he like beats the shit out of those fucking guys, and the guy he saves is just, like shitting his pants. He's like, he's terrified of him. He's like, fuck this guy. I don't want anything to do with this guy, even though he was just saved by him. And then like, the last scene where he like, he's just there like helping evacuate people, and he's like on that roof, and he looks like shit. And those people are like thanking him. I thought that was really nice. Like, like the fact that it was like, to me, it was the first Batman movie where like he became more than just a guy who punches people, and that was sort of the message. It was like, hey, my fucking Roomba's making noise. I don't know if you can hear it. Go away. Go away, Roomba. The Roomba's like, I'm going through a tunnel. No. I appreciated the core message of that. Like, he needed to become more than his vengeance. And I think that Riddler ties in perfectly to that, because that's all Riddler was. He was just a weapon of malice, and he riled up other people that felt the same way. And I also really like that, like, Batman directly inspired them, in his, he's just trying to do good, but the good he was trying to do ultimately like caused harm, and it wasn't, like he said, it wasn't the change he wanted to be. And I think, like, at the very least, maybe some elements of the story you didn't like. I think you got to give it to that. The writing by that movie was very strong, like in terms of like its themes. It's like, how its character relationships and how everything tied and interwove together. I thought that was fucking awesome, just from a writer's standpoint.
Yeah.
Come on.
So the whole penguin chase scene was cool looking.
I got you.
Where are you?
Dude, he was awesome. He was a fucking cartoon character, and I loved it.
He was amazing.
Rata Alada, is that right? Rata Alada. Did anyone take Spanish?
I don't want to break that movie down, but if I did, you would probably hate me for bringing light to the ridiculousness of that movie. And honestly, I told someone, I was like, if this movie was like a half hour to 45 minutes, even an hour shorter, it would have been a tight, great movie. Mm-hmm. But there was just, again, this whole like walking through a scene thing, like this doesn't make drama or tension. This is just like, Matt Reeves was like, could you slow it down? You went through the scene a little too fast.
This is something we'll just always fundamentally disagree on. I like a slow burner. I have the
slow burners.
I have the exact opposite opinion. I felt that it was the perfect length, and I appreciated that it didn't try, like so many movies now, I feel like they try to hit that 1 hour and a half mark or the 2 hour mark, and they force themselves down that. And I'm like, I appreciated that the movie like allowed itself to be pretty long. And I saw it twice in theaters. I didn't feel like it dragged at all for me. I like was constantly on the edge of my seat.
Well, yeah, but you're a cokehead, so you were probably
yeah, dude. I was just blowing fucking coke off the luxury armrest. I lowered myself. Yeah, can I get a diet soda and some cocaine, please? Thank you. I'm the Batman.
I'm not saying the movie was bad for you. I'm just saying the movie was bad
for you. For you, it was bad for you.
It was bad for me. Like opinion wise, we all have different tastes. Like some people like quality, and other people just like a slow burn.
Always. Oh shit! No. I bet Waterworld's your favorite movie.
That is true.
Yes. All right. Yeah, you win.
I mean, how else is the oil still good and the cigarettes unlimited?
Well, he pees on the plant, and then he eats it. That's it's how it all works out. It's cyclical.
He's a Boy Scout. You can pee twice before it becomes toxic. I know how it works.
Is that how it works? You get 2 pees?
Yeah, they teach you that in Boy Scouts when they're raping you. They say like you can pee. What? You don't believe me about the pee?
I believe all of what you said.
I was in the Boy Scouts. Trust me. I saw a lot. I
was.
There was a lot of fat men who were like, nice to have these boys in camp.
Nice to have these young, supple boys. Come here, you sweet.
In my tent if you want to stay warmer.
You sweet boys. I've got apple juice.
Yeah.
It's
Hey,
in a wine bottle, though.
I kind of want to go camping. I don't know, Mom.
I don't know.
I'm just not comfortable.
You know what? My parents would never let me go on the camping trips, and I always regretted that. But now I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm glad that didn't happen. I guess
therapy.
Probably saved me from therapy because now I love camping. I love that. I'm like, that would have been ruined. I'd have been like, this sucks.
I can't camp because they made all the first year Boy Scouters clean the campsites.
Oh my God.
And I would be like, I don't want to. And they're like, you have to. And I was like, now I don't want. Now I refuse to. And they're like, but I'm your superior. And I go, you don't look. When I was younger, I was forced into Catholicism. I was like, you don't look like God to me. And they're like, what? I was like, you said you're my superior. And the only one that's my superior is God, then my parents. And unless
I have the power of God and anime on my side.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you stab them with your little Boy Scout knife.
That's not a knife. This is a gun. No.
That's my Boy Scout gun.
I made it.
You remember when they used to give you guns? Those were the good old days.
You got your Boy Scout gun badge?
No Boy Scout goes out not packing, you know. Got my Boy Scout knife, my Boy Scout gun.
Why can you trust Boy Scouts? Because they know how to keep their mouths shut so no one puts anything in it.
Bring back Boy Scout guns. Bring them back. That's what we need. Bring them back.
All right. Yeah. Anyway, so we definitely went a little over, but I want to say thanks, Boody, for coming on and telling me how awesome Batman is.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I will not. Maybe a 9.5 out of 10. I'll give you that. That's as low as I'll go.
Maybe like a 12 out of 5, but like
12 out of 5.
12.
A 12 out of 5. Yeah, a 12 to 5.
Yeah, 12 out of 5 without the 12. And then
scale 1 to 2, Tom.
Yeah, if I had a choice between watching that movie and not watching that movie, I would kill myself just so I wouldn't have to make a choice.
Holy shit.
Just
don't watch it. You don't have to. No.
Why did you like it? Well, I just rather kill myself.
Sorry. You gave me the choice. Batman, no Batman. I will take suicide.
It was so long. I had to pee because I just wanted to get out of there, not because I had to pee.
You know what, Tom? I had to pee too, and I squeezed it. I could have cracked a guava melon in my asshole. That's how tightly I was holding on to that.
I thought, what would Batman do? What would the Joke Riddler do here? He was
not the Joker.
I know he's the Joker.
They had the Joker. He was in it. He was like,
the Joker was Druid from
yeah, it was Druid. I was like, oh, it's the other brother from Shameless.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, that guy's not from Shameless.
Yeah, he is. He's the other brother. He's the Joker in Gotham was the gay brother, and then that guy is he's Lip. He is Lip in Shameless.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
Shameless cast.
It's him. It's him.
I am. If he's not, when are you gonna suck my penis?
When he is, when are you gonna,
All right, here goes. Lip. Jeremy Allen White.
I'm looking it up
Lip.
too.
All right. He is not in the Eternals anywhere on this.
He
IMDb.
is. That's the same guy.
I'm looking at his IMDb. Yeah, let's go. Cast.
They look exactly the same.
Well, look. I look just like Martin Luther King. You don't hear me telling people.
They're not the same guy. Why do I think they're the same
Krogan
guy?
Or something like that.
Why do I think Barry? They're like the same guy.
Yeah. That. You know what? I accept your mislead on that because you thought Batman was a 9.5, 10 out of 10.
9.5, 10 out of 10. Barry Krogan is Jeremy Allen White.
Like, he's so good.
They're the same guy. Batman's a 10 out of 10, and Barry Krogan is the same guy.
I can't be wrong. Why is that? Because the evidence is proving so.
I will deny it. Deny.
What are you, Amber Hearding me?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, Amber Hearding.
I pledged the entirety of my money in my bank so I could buy makeup.
Yes. They look exactly the same, though. You have to give me that.
They don't look anything like Amber Heard.
They look exactly the same.
look like identical twins that were separated from birth by giving birth by different
By
parents.
two separate parents. Yeah. Fair. Yeah, fair. They could be doppelgangers. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, if you did some work on his face and then gave that guy some makeup, doppelganger.
Doppelgangers, yeah, flawless. They look exactly the same.
If he was slightly taller and looked like the other guy,
Their face, they're in their face. I don't know about their physicality. Maybe they have different hands. Everything else is exactly the same, though.
If he was wearing the guy from Shameless's mask for Halloween, they would look closely
They would look
resembling the truth.
impeccable.
But other than that, you know, they're like identical twins, minus the fact that they don't look anything alike.
Yeah, listen, history will vindicate me, as it always does. History's on my side, Tom.
If I ever interview that guy, I'm gonna be like, "Did you enjoy your time on Shameless?"
While I'm there, just like,
Like, you know, I get that all the time. I'm like, really?
I get
You're
that
like,
my
"Yeah, they
twin
think
brother."
I'm a gay brother.
My different things on the game.
He's a redhead. Yeah, but you know, we have the same nose.
We're brothers. You know,
I
on
thought you
TV.
look like Lip. He's like, "Is that because I have big lips?" No. His name is Lip. Anyway. All right, let's close this out, and then you know.
I had a really fun time. I hope you have me again.
I will have you again, and we're gonna watch. We're gonna watch Batman, the Batman. And we're just gonna commentate over the whole thing.
We should. I would do a let's watch of that.
Oh,
You would hate on it. I'd be like, I love this scene because.
we could do it because we could do the. I can't do it on the. But we could watch it with the movie while it's here. We just have to leave it on mute. We can't have this now. But,
You could set up a timer so people could watch along. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Be like, pop it on. Yep. It'll be fun. So anyway, everyone keep developing the right mindset.
Bye.